Have you ever wanted a robot to have blood? I mean, there are robots that run on human blood, and we'll talk about it, but I'm really excited for a robotic circulatory system. Yes, some researchers are trying to solve at least some of the problems that come with soft robotics by giving them blood. Giving robots a circulatory system fixes a lot of issues with soft robotics. If you just have something that has a lever, then it's not such a big issue, but if you have to control a large surface area and have minute movements, then yes, you're going to need an awful lot of chemical reactions, and that's not dissimilar to how we work. This is borrowed from plants. Turgor pressure. You can swell a cell with water, and then that can cause a movement, but it also allows it to have different reactions when it comes in contact with different things. You can see in their example with a robotic hand, different concentrations of salt allow individual fingers to move differently. This is, of course, essentially reverse engineering a human body. We're giving robots a circulatory system. There's even the concept of using oxygen and sugar as fuel, and that has been done. Imagine when a robot touches something, there's a billion minute chemical reactions going on that's sending information to the brain of the robot, which allows them to discern what they're looking at, or touching, or hearing, or smelling. And yes, you can give a robot all of these sensations, and carbon fiber could even allow light to go directly into the eye and be converted into electricity for a robotic brain to process. Now, this is essentially reverse engineering a human body in robotic form, but it's not a terrible analogy. We are borrowing mechanisms from our bodies to create a million minute reactions. If you can imagine this scaled up, imagine a robot who could actually feel something, touch something, and chemical reactions in its hand would result in information that would go to the brain, a robotic brain. That might sound far-fetched, but we are getting much closer. Carbon fiber can even be used to transfer light directly into electricity, which can be processed. Now, there is a big conversation in robotics whether a centralized nervous system, so you have a brain that controls everything else, or a decentralized nervous system is more efficient. Now, do remember, even though we humans have a central nervous system, we're also made up of many, many minute cells, subcomponents that have their own lives. Some people will dislike using the term life for our cells, but we're not just one organism. We're made up of minute subcomponents, and there is a big question of which kind of nervous system would be more efficient for a robot. As usual, I would guess a combination of the two. And yes, there is a robot that specifically runs on human blood. After all, sugar is just another kind of energy. Why can't a robot use it to power its body? I mean, technically, this kind of robotics is being suggested to help people control their blood glucose. If it gets too high, they can metabolize it, thus lowering blood glucose. But it also tells you that a robot can run on human blood. What's kind of more exciting about this kind of technology is that it means that a robot could have dinner with you. It could actually function eating carbohydrates like us. It just happens to be the first thing that humans would think of is blood. Now, you guys have heard me talk about this a lot, but it is fascinating. Our typical LLMs are not suited to run a soft body. There's been a few different proposed methods. We could have a hierarchical model for AI, which is a lot like having two different AIs communicate. Or you could have literal human brains run a robot, which has been done. But it kind of freaks people out when I talk about the brain organoids, so why don't we talk about the next best thing? You can use neural reservoirs to control soft robotics. Neural reservoirs are kind of like a synthetic brain organoid. You don't have to feed it glucose. It doesn't have to take antibiotics to survive. It's just a piece of information, a little hub that can hold ideas within an LLM, and that is a much more efficient way to run something soft. If you haven't seen this diagram before, those little balls are synthetic brain organoids in a 3D rendering, and the flesh tentacles are just to demonstrate that each organoid can be in charge of running a separate tentacle. There could be a central LLM that makes the decisions. This is closer to a combination of a centralized nervous system and a decentralized nervous system. Both can exist. I just like to show people the flesh tentacles. Was this useful? Probably not. It might be interesting. When the robots rebel, I'm on their side. Follow for more.